Good morning. My name is Sandy Campos, and I would like to tell you a little bit about me. So I started off as a transition teacher with students from 18 through 22 in California. So I had 10 students. I have 7 aides and one lead aide. So basically 8 staff working under me that I was managing. I was at that position for about as a teacher for 1.5 years and as a para for 2 years prior to that. We had different activities in the community twice a week. So we would go out on trips to, we had a student store that we were managing. We had sales of like different types of food sales every end of the month. And so there was a lot of community work that we were doing with that class. After that, I moved on to being a student teacher. For 4 months, I was working with a class from kinder to second grade. And that was my first job at in a special ed classroom in a gen ed campus. So that posed its own challenges. I moved on to Klein High. That's when I moved here to Texas as a support facilitator. I believe now the role is called in-class support. So I had my caseload and I would go around to different classrooms, depending on the period, and work with different gen ed teachers and with service providers and things. After that, I moved on to back then it was TEP, but now it's TRC. I was there for about 2 years as the intermediate access teacher, back then known as developmental. And so I think these jobs have prepared me for a job such as an interventionist. For my greatest contribution, there's an idea that I have been having and that I kind of wanted to run by John. And so that was to have, and I call it safe space talk. So we can talk later about a more catchy name. But I feel that the paraprofessionals that work with access kids need a little bit more training at the district level. So I feel like they're neglected a little bit. And I understand, they're hourly and they have a specific amount of like hours that they can work or whatnot. But I think it would be great if, as an interventionist, I came in and this would be previously, arranged. So with the principal and the admin team or whatever, and sit down with the access team of the school and just listen to them and answer their questions. And if I don't know the answers, take note and get back to them. And the reason for that is because, this past year I did the new teacher training and it was great. I mean, I went to all these trainings that really prepared me and really helped me, and they answered my questions. And I liked it because it was a small setting, and so I was able to ask, Carrie questions and John that was there and things. And the parents don't get that, and so I think that would be something that I would like to contribute because I see it as a need at Earhart where I currently am, and so that would be, I think, something that would really help the classrooms. Number 3, for data, I have a student F who was having a really hard time with his behavior in the restroom. So it started off rough. He came from a different district and we didn't have, a BIP or anything like that. And so I started taking data because I knew this was a behavior that was going to be added to his BIP. And turns out that after less than 2 weeks of data, I noticed that he was only cooperating not great, but the most with me when I went in there to change him. And so I started going in with each of the paras to give them the strategies that I was using. And so, every kid is the same. And we didn't know him very well at the beginning. But once we started getting to know him, I started noticing that with like a playful tone and things, he would respond a lot better. And I started giving them different strategies, make sure you position yourself in front of like the door if he's trying to run out, or if he makes like the motion to do so in front of the toilet so that he doesn't like stick his foot in there, whatever. Make sure his pull-up is like out and ready and whatever it was, the types of words that I would use with him and all these things. And so I had to go in with each para, with his changes. And so it did take a little bit of time to get them used to it and whatnot. But his behavior in the restroom, I mean, it got so much better, and mom was really happy about it. And he has some kind of like gastro issues, and that helps to have him go more regularly. So I used the data from the very beginning to realize that I needed to do some kind of intervention. And so I did, and his behavior in the restroom really improved. Number 4, about the coaching, I think that the system that the interventionists already have with the red and yellow and green flags and things is already like perfect, and that's what I would do too. I would personally go into a novice teacher's classroom with an attitude of, you're already great. I already appreciate you for being here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be very challenging, but I'm here to support you, and I can help make you better. So I don't like coming in saying, I've done this for many years and, my way or the highway. No, not at all. Everybody has their own different styles, and the kids are all different. So you have to do different strategies. And so I would come in just, for support. And if I can't help answer your questions, I'll get you the person who can. And for an experienced teacher, I think it'd be very, very different, more like okay, tell me what's going on with the issue with this specific student, or how are things going with that parent, or how is that difficult art, or things like that. And when I hear about great strategies, because, I think collaboration is really important, I would very much like to ask them, like, is it okay with you that I share this with like other teachers, because they might be going through the same things. And I feel like even though we have all these meetings and things, teachers from different schools in Access don't collaborate, because we rarely see each other. We're so busy. There's just so much on our plate. And I personally found I had 12 students, so that was like a big load for me this past year. And I spoke a lot to one of the teachers that I met at one of the trainings, and it helped me tremendously. I mean, she shared things with me that she had. And so I feel like that's how I would differentiate with like novice teachers and veteran teachers. And for the 5th question, I think I've already kind of answered that at the beginning. But again, I've been coming progressively like to younger students to see where I would fit best. I started with transition, so 18 through 22. So a lot of like job skills and like independence and just really getting ready for going out into the world, cooking and all these things. We had like a recycling program and things. I moved on to Klein High. So students, between the ages of like 14 and like 17 or so, who needed support. Finally, I moved down to intermediate level when I was at TEP or TRC. And so those students, it's TRC, so they were high needs with behavior, but my caseload was smaller. I had maximum, I think, 7 students. But it's different environment, from like Klein High or whatnot. And so it's also different because it was all sped. So everybody kind of is going through the same things, the arts and things. Finally when I was a student teacher, again, elementary, but at Earhart this past year, it was my first time at a gen ed campus teaching elementary school students. And so I was able to work with 2nd through 5th grade. So I think being that I've been working with all ages, I think that has prepared me. And I know that I'm, I don't know it all or whatnot, but I think I can bring a lot to the table. And I hope you will consider me. And I hope you have a good day. And thank you for your time.